Hundreds of people are crowding the streets outside the London Palladium every night. Not to get inside, but to look up. Why? Because halfway through the latest Evita revival, Rachel Zegler steps out onto a real balcony and belts out "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." Not to the audience who paid for tickets, but to the people standing outside for free. Inside, theater goers are left watching it on a screen. It's being called bold, brilliant, even historic. But others say it's nothing more than a PR stunt gone too far. And with Rachel Zegler at the center of it all, an actress who's become just as known for stirring online drama as she is for singing, this performance is turning into something a lot bigger than musical theater. Some are even wondering, is this about honoring Eva Peron? Or making Rachel go viral again? Halfway through the newest Evita production at London's historic Palladium, something unexpected happens. Instead of staying on stage to deliver the most iconic song in the show, "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," Rachel Zegler walks off, makes her way through the theater, and steps onto an actual outdoor balcony overlooking the street. It's a bold move. She performs the number live to whoever happens to be walking or standing outside, whether they bought a ticket or not. Inside, the seated audience watches the whole thing unfold on a massive screen via live video. It's theatrical, yes, but not in the way most theater goers were expecting when they paid top prices to be in the room. It feels more like a TikTok stunt than a Broadway moment. For a show built on emotion and stage presence, outsourcing its most powerful scene to a sidewalk performance seems like a choice made more for buzz than for storytelling. Honestly, it's starting to feel like this version of Evita was directed by Instagram Reels. Outside, it's another story altogether. Night after night, the streets outside the Palladium fill with curious tourists, die-hard fans, and casual passers-by who've heard the rumors. People are gathering with their phones out, ready to capture the viral moment. Rachel Zegler in full Eva Peron costume, singing to the London air. It's become a mini-event of its own. The crowd often claps and cheers louder than those actually inside. In some ways, it's like a free concert, only the main event is happening outside the ticketed venue. It's impressive how the team has created a buzzworthy moment using the building itself. But it's hard not to wonder if theater is starting to chase viral moments at the cost of the in-person experience. Not everything needs to be optimized for social media clout, but apparently, woke theater thinks otherwise. Rachel Zegler is no stranger to the spotlight. She made a splash as Maria in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, a role that launched her into stardom. Since then, she's been cast in major projects like the live-action Snow White, which has sparked plenty of debate over its modernized direction. Now she's taken on Eva Peron, one of the most demanding and legendary roles in musical theater. To her credit, she has the vocal power and stage presence to handle it. But let's be honest, there's a fine line between modernizing a role and stripping it of its weight. Zegler often brings more Disney princess than political powerhouse energy, and for some theater fans, that's a hard sell. Not every role needs to be reimagined to fit a Gen Z influencer vibe. This whole balcony idea didn't come out of nowhere. It's deeply tied to both history and pop culture. In real life, Eva Peron famously addressed crowds from the balcony of the Casa Rosada in Buenos Aires. That image, her standing before the Argentine people, adored and elegant, became a visual symbol of her power, and it's etched into the country's collective memory. Then came the 1996 film version of Evita, with Madonna bringing that very same image to the big screen. That balcony scene, complete with sweeping shots and a haunting rendition of "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," became a defining pop culture moment. The current revival is clearly trying to tap into that legacy by recreating a version of the balcony moment in real life. But this time, it's outside a London theater. It's clever in theory, but in practice it feels more like a gimmick than a tribute. Just because something looks iconic on film doesn't mean it needs to become a nightly street performance. But hey, in 2025, slapping nostalgia on a TikTok-ready moment is enough to call it art. Inside the theater world, reactions have been all over the place. Some theater goers walk out feeling like they witnessed something completely unique. They describe it as immersive, cinematic, and emotionally layered. Social media posts gush about how it felt like Eva Peron was singing directly to the people, as if history itself were unfolding live above a 21st century crowd. But for every person enchanted by the moment, there's another one grumbling about the price of their ticket. People didn't spend over £150 for a seat in the Palladium just to watch a live-streamed video of the star singing to people outside for free. On X, formerly Twitter, some users called it cheap spectacle, while others accused the production of prioritizing viral moments over theatrical integrity. One post read, "Imagine paying premium just to watch a screen while the real performance happens for randoms on the street. I came for theater, not a music video." And honestly, that's a fair point. The line between groundbreaking and frustrating is getting blurrier and fast. Even Andrew Lloyd Webber himself has weighed in. The legendary composer, who's had a hand in shaping musical theater for decades, admitted that this choice was unconventional. He said, "There will be people who are disappointed that she hasn't sung it live in the theater, but I think it's going to be greatly outweighed by the theatricality of using film in that way." He seems convinced that this bold move will be remembered as a turning point in staging, a modern blend of old and new. It's a risk, sure, but one he's willing to defend. And maybe that's fair. Artists have always pushed boundaries. Still, there's something ironic about one of the greatest composers of traditional musical theater now banking on a cinematic workaround to deliver his show's most powerful song. It almost feels like he's trying too hard to stay relevant in a theater. World obsessed with being edgy and progressive. Maybe not everything needs to be reinvented just because younger audiences have shorter attention spans. This whole experiment also raises a bigger question. Is this the direction live theater is heading in? In recent years, there's been a noticeable trend toward immersive, experimental staging. Productions like Sleep No More and The Great Gatsby Immersive have removed the fourth wall entirely, letting audiences wander freely through the experience. Even big-name shows like Cabaret have transformed traditional theaters into nightclub settings. The goal seems to be making theater feel more like an event than a performance. And in some cases, it works beautifully. But in others, it starts to feel like style is replacing substance. There's a fine line between making theater modern and making it feel like a high-budget Instagram story. If this Evita revival is any clue, the future of theater may not be about storytelling at all. It might just be about capturing the perfect viral moment. And if that's the case, maybe we're not evolving, we're just pandering. At the end of the day, love it or hate it, this Evita revival has definitely made an impact. It's no longer just a musical, it's become an experience shared by people in the theater and random strangers on the street. Whether you're inside watching the screen or standing outside with a latte and a smartphone, you're now part of the performance. Rachel Zegler's version of Eva Peron is literally stepping into the public square, and that's something no one else has tried quite like this. But as the lines between stage and sidewalk blur, so do the expectations. What's supposed to be a heart-wrenching ballad about political ambition and vulnerability now feels more like a promotional stunt. Maybe it's bold. Maybe it's theater for the TikTok age. But it does leave one final question hanging in the air. Are we giving standing ovations now just because it trends?